Welcome to the Outdoor Realm YouTube channel. I'm Joe, and we're chasing our dream building a homestead on a remote piece of property in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So join us on this next adventure of the UP Project. Alright, well, I'm out here with my mom. It's been a few weeks since we've been here last. And I'm just out pulling trail camera cards right now. You know when you smell something and it like triggers a memory? That's kind of what I got going on right now. I'm smelling the woods. It's early June right now and trees are fully leafed out and it smells like woods in summertime. And it reminds me of when I was a kid. My grandma and grandpa had, I think it was like 5 acres of property and most of it was wooded. Me and my brothers would go exploring in the woods and that's what it smelled like. It smelled like woods. And that's what I'm smelling right now and it's bringing me back to when I was a kid, running around on grandma and grandpa's property. Those are good memories. I'm hoping that my kids can have similar memories up here. Our main focus on this trip is to take care of one thing. This here stump. I knew after our last trip up that we would need to remove the stump in order to build a cabin foundation. So I did some research on different ways to get the job done. There are a few ways out there that I've seen people try. The best way is with some kind of machinery. The machinery that I don't have. I did try pulling the stump out with my Ford 8N tractor. But as powerful as that little tractor is, there's no way it's going to pull that stump out. I decided to go with a more affordable route and purchased a come-along. I already have a tow chain, and I borrowed my dad's old logging chain. And my hope is that with these tools and a shovel and an axe, we'll pop that stump right out. If you know anything about stumps, you'll know how much work they can be to get them out. And I'm about to get a lesson in that very thing. Some might ask, well, why don't you just use some tannerite? Well, as awesome and probably effective as that would be, it's not a risk I was willing to take at the time. Now, there's probably a safe way to do it, but I don't have any experience with that, and this is not really the time and place that I wanted to do something like that. I'm not opposed to the idea, though. I do get some enjoyment using hand tools. It's a lot of work, but it's work you can be proud of. You can look back at your finished product and say, I did that with my own 2 hands, and sheer determination. There's no doubt, though, it's pretty exhausting doing things this way. The old-fashioned way. The hard way. Alright, does it move at all?
Yeah, it's wiggling. When you pulled on it just now, it was moving that way. I feel like you need to do the same thing on this side.
That's not happening tonight.
No, I know.
Well, we got a start on that stump. I don't even know if I'd call it a good start, but it's wiggling now at least. But we got a long way to go on it. But we got thunderstorms rolling in, so we're going to call it for tonight. We're actually going to head into town and look at some building materials, and we'll get back to work tomorrow. following morning, I determined to do something I've been wanting to get done for a while. I'm going to put that auger together. It's been sitting in its shipment crate since we bought it, and I think it'll be a big help digging out that stump. It'll at least save my back some. Ah, yes, the instructions. Always important part of putting something new together. There's a stereotype out there that men don't typically like to follow instructions. Something about it makes a man feel weak or unable to figure something out on his own. Well, I tend to do that on occasion as well. However, with something like this, a fairly pricey piece of equipment, I believe instructions are not only important for putting it together correctly, but probably more importantly, for proper use and maintenance to help it last longer. You may have noticed the 3-point hydraulics tend to fall fairly rapidly when the tractor engine is shut off. This has been a persisting problem, and I'm going to have to look into repairing that next. Hopefully it lasts for the rest of the summer and fall, and I'll fix it over the winter. Yet another opportunity to learn how to do something. Those opportunities just seem to keep popping up everywhere. This particular auger is a CountyLine brand, and we got the biggest auger attachment the local tractor supply offered. This will also be the first PTO-driven implement that I'll have used on the 8N, so I'm pretty excited to put that to work. I will say, it was pretty easy putting this auger together. The instructions were very clear and simple to understand. You don't need an instructional video or anything like that, which is the way it should be. Remember what I said about following the instructions for proper maintenance? You don't want to forget to lubricate everything. If you don't, something could very well break, and that would be a very disappointing day. Proper maintenance will help keep your equipment in good working condition and last for years to come. Well, we got the auger all lubricated, tested, and ready to go. Time to give her a try. Turns out the auger digs pretty well. I am noticing, however, it doesn't pull all the dirt out, and I have to shovel out all the loose dirt. My understanding is when you're digging with an auger, you want to shut the PTO off while the auger is still in the ground, then lift up the auger and re-engage the PTO to spin off all the dirt outside of the hole. Unfortunately, this is something this Ford 8N is not capable of doing. This tractor was designed in 1948, and the 3-point hitch design was still fairly new then. On this particular tractor, the 3-point hitch hydraulics and the PTO do not work independently of one another. In other words, if you're using the 3-point hydraulics, the PTO must be engaged. This tends to be an issue with these old tractors, as it can also make maneuvering the tractor somewhat difficult with the auger spinning. And I can't shut off the PTO because I'm having issues with the 3-point hydraulics falling too fast. So we'll just have to take it slow and be careful during this process. Building on your vocabulary is a great way of improving your ability to describe something. The word pernicious is a fantastic word to describe this stump. The definition of the word pernicious is having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. This stump is directly in the way of where we need to build a foundation, and has a directly harmful effect on the entire building process. It doesn't look like much from above ground, but the roots below, that can't be seen just lying in wait, are a real issue. If we don't get the stump out, we'll either have to readjust our entire foundation plan, or quit the operation altogether. Thankfully, this auger's been working out real fine, and has saved us quite a bit of time. Slowly but surely, we'll get this stump out. Alright, well the come along seems to be working pretty well. I'm gonna have to loosen everything up and readjust because I'm out of line here. So I'm gonna have to re-loosen that. I think it's gonna come out just fine using the come along. So we're gonna keep working at that and hopefully get this thing out within the next 30 minutes or so. Pulling this stump out reminds me of removing things in your life. Things that are holding you back, whether you realize it or not. Those pernicious things. If you truly want to be successful, you have to do some self-reflecting and identify what the stumps in your life are. Usually it's something involving issues with our character or bad habits, such as unhealthy diet or sleep, negativity, laziness, procrastination, perfectionism, or having a victim mindset. And those are just a few examples of some of the things that will destroy your ability to succeed.
I feel like now if we can shorten that chain around where it's at.
It takes a good dose of humility to realize what our potential flaws are, and it takes a good dose of courage to step up and take ownership in order to remove those things. And if you make the choice not to cast off the things that hold you back, you'll likely find yourself still sitting there wishing your life was different. No one else can do it for you, so identify what needs to change and draw out those pernicious roots in your life.
Yeah, you got it.
Wow. Well, we finally got this thing out of here. It's just a giant hole now. Gotta hook up the tractor and get that pulled out, and then I think we're ready to just start digging holes for the foundation. That's a big relief that that's done.
Time to paint the outhouse.
Oh yeah. My mom's gonna go paint the outhouse while I'm digging holes. So we gotta get that thing all treated and ready to face the weather, I guess, and hopefully it lasts longer.
Yes.
Before we get to work digging the foundation, there's a couple things I want to get done yet. This corner of the cabin plot is still a little high, so I need to edge that a little before we bring in the box blade again. We also need to double check our string lines and make any final adjustments. The string line needs to be as exact as we can possibly get it. Man, I do love that sound. Wild turkeys are pretty neat creatures, and hearing them on our own property just brings me pure joy. While my mom is working on painting the outhouse, I'm going to run the box blade over the cabin plot one last time. I thought I was done with this part, but now that the string line is up and you can see where the floor of the cabin will be in relation to the ground, there's that one corner that still needs a bit of dirt removed. I'm a firm believer that if you're going to take on a project like this, you better do it right as best you can the first time around. Being lazy and doing a partial job is easy until you get further along in the process and realize taking the easy route finds you fixing something later on and wasting valuable time problem solving rather than moving along to the next step in the process. Laziness is one of those pernicious traits that I was talking about earlier, and I've definitely been there and done that. Proverbs has a lot to say about laziness. For example, Proverbs 10:4 says, "A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich." I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, the last few years have been very eye-opening for me in my personal life, and taking on this project has only broadened that. There are changes that I've realized I've needed to make in order to achieve my own personal goals. I guess that's why I'm sharing all this with you, because I've found little nuggets of wisdom along the way, and I don't want to keep that all to myself when it can be shared with anyone who will listen. And I hope it'll help you out as much as it's helped me. So you're going to see a pretty awesome cabin build in this series, but you're also going to hear me talk about things that will hopefully inspire you to improve on yourself and achieve your own goals in life. So what I'm doing here is I'm marking with spray paint on the ground where the cabin foundation will be. This smaller inside box is where the pier is going to be, which comes up above the ground. And these outer markers here is where the pad will be that the pier is going to sit on, and that'll be about 5.5 feet down into the ground. And this bigger outside marker is the hole that we need to dig. I'm real excited to start digging the foundation. And that window here, looking to the west, where you should be able to see the sunset. Alright, well, the string lines are checked and double checked and good to go. This is kind of what we're looking at for the foundation here. This is going to be a lot of digging, and I'm actually kind of excited to get started. I know it's going to be a real pain because this is going to be a lot of dirt coming out of here, and we're pretty much moving it all by hand. So but that's going to be it for tonight. Pretty good day. Heard a turkey yelping. That's definitely a big thing for me. That was pretty neat. Pretty happy about that. But we're just about there, about ready to break ground finally. Our last day out here turned out to be absolutely beautiful. A beautiful day to dig a hole. And this is actually the main purpose we got the auger to begin with. Digging machines that come with a motor and hydraulics and such tend to be rather expensive, and we weren't exactly in the position for such a purchase. And I personally don't really care for the idea of renting equipment. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I'd just rather own whatever equipment I use rather than asking permission or paying someone to use their stuff. And guess what? We just happen to own shovels, which means we do have our own digging equipment. However, while digging the outhouse pit with a shovel just a couple months prior, I quickly realized that digging a hole by hand is a tremendous amount of work. It's not that I'm opposed to hard work, but I don't want to break my back digging 6 5.5 foot deep holes in the ground with a shovel. So we opted for the next best thing that was quite a bit more affordable. This auger. The plan was to use the auger to loosen up the soil to make digging easier. I have to say it does a good job of that, and I'm glad we made this decision. Yet another productive couple days in the books, and I'm super excited to have finally gotten some foundation work done. Alright, well, we've got a little bit of the foundation dug finally. The auger does help, but you can only get down about 3 feet with it. There's a whole bunch of rocks at a certain layer. That's right at about 2 or 3 feet down, so it does help with loosening up the soil and makes it a little easier to shovel out, but still gonna have to do a lot by hand. Right, only 2 feet at the shortest depth, about 2.5 at the deepest, so we gotta go down like 5.5 feet. So we've got a long way to go. But I'm going to get all my tractor implements away. My mom's been working on painting the outhouse, so I'm going to go help her finish that up, and then we're probably going to call it for this weekend. Thanks for following along. If you liked this video, be sure to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We hope we'll see you again soon, and remember to gear up, get out, and go find your own outdoor adventure.